we're almost at launch for Starfield. It's just around the corner. And today I'm going to be going through everything we know so far. There's a lot of information, so I'm going to get started with some general information first of all. It's 25 years in the making. Going to have a Xbox and PC release. On PC, it's going to be available on Steam and the Xbox app. It's also available on Game Pass Day 1. Get access to the Standard Edition as long as your subscription is active. The Premium upgrade is also available for £35, euros or dollars if you wish to have the Premium goodies and pre-order bonuses. The Standard Edition, if you want to go the regular route, is £69, 79 euros or $69. For Steam, it is £59. I do believe it's also cheaper for Europeans as well. Pre-order will get you the old Mars skin pack, which includes the laser cutter, deep mining helmet, and the deep mining pack. As for the digital premium, it's £99, 109 euros or $99. Again, it's slightly cheaper on Steam with £85 in the UK. The pre-order, you'll get 5 days early access, the Constellation skin pack, the digital art book, the original soundtrack, the first story expansion, Shattered Space. If you want to fork out even more money, the collector's edition is £249, 280 euros or $299. It includes the digital game download, the steelbook display case, the Starfield Chronomark watch with a watch case, Constellation patch, and all the previously mentioned pre-ordered download bonuses. It releases on September the 6th or the 1st of September for premium or collector's edition users, where you get early access of 5 days. Starfield is a space sci-fi single-player open-world RPG. It runs 4K on the Xbox Series X, 1440p on the Xbox Series S, and both capped at 30 FPS. You can play third or first-person view. It takes place in the year 2330, located in what's called the Settled Systems. The player is invited to join the exploration group, the Constellation. The game is designed for modders to create and expand the game. All quests are running simultaneously, so no having to unlock areas to get to other quests. Everyone will start off at the same spot, but what happens before to you is determined by the trait and background system. You can elect to go to jail or pay a fine when you're arrested, or even resist arrest and try to escape if you absolutely want to. The game only runs when you're actively playing, so the clock won't continue if you close the game, so trade routes, mining operations will continue only when you're in the game. They have a new global elimination system and a new animation system. There's going to be some mining and crafting involved. The devs have said there's going to be lots of post-launch content, like story expansions, new features, and just general updates to the game. There's going to be a photo mode come launch. Reviews come out on the 31st of August, so if you want to have a peek of what reviewers think or want to avoid them, they come out from the 31st of August. The game has now officially gone gold, meaning it's basically ready for launch. It's not exactly complete, but it's complete enough to launch. You can preload right now on Xbox. It's going to be approximately 126 gigabytes. For Steam and Xbox Game Pass, the preload is from the 30th of August. And it is going to be 139 gigabytes. It's also going to include the New Game Plus from launch. It has a unique and exciting twist. We're not quite sure what that involves, but I'm sure we'll find out when we go to play the playthrough for the second time, which might be a while, as we know Starfield is quite a big game. Moving on to shipbuildings. So you can build ships, has huge ship customization, and they're all modular. There are 10 available ships with a maximum of 207 customizable options overall, so basically you can develop a fleet of your own ships. You get issued your first ship after the first storyline that you complete, and that ship is called the Frontier. You can customize the ship via a ship technician located at every ship port. This will allow you to buy, sell ship components, pay for repairs, and give hints to where to hire crew. There is a cockpit module, a habitat module, or HAB for short. There's then engines, a reactor, weapons, landing gear, and docking modules, and that makes up your ship. All ships come with auto-deployed landing gear, and that can be upgraded later to land on all types of terrain. Energy weapons will reduce enemy shields, ballistics will reduce hull and physical damage to the ship, electromagnetic weapons will disrupt electrical systems for ship weapons. When building your ship, you need to take mass into account, balance the weight with the engine power. If you don't have powerful enough engines, you basically won't take off. So that's element of a little bit of Kerbal Space Program elemented into Starfield there. As for fuel tanks, they run on helium-3 and power the gravity drive, meaning the bigger the tanks, the further that you can jump. As for a more overview of the ship system's HOD, which you may have seen in the Starfield Direct, there are a few acronyms. So the LAS mean your laser weapons, the BAL means ballistics, MSL, missile damage strength, Hull is basically your main body and your overall HP. Shields, they protect the ship and recharge when you're out of combat. Cargo is your inventory space. Your jump range is your light year distance. Your mobility, your top speed and mass are self-explanatory, basically the overall movement and aspects of the ship, of how it's going to behave. With that, there are also different systems to manage, similar to what we experience with the likes of Star Wars Squadron, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, etc. So you can allocate different power to different systems. So the laser weapons, the ballistics and the missiles that I just mentioned, all those you can apply different power to, as well as the engines, the shields, and the grav drive, which is basically your jump drive or your hyperspace drive, jumping from system to system or planet to planet. You can target specific systems on a ship available via a skill in the skill tree, like disabling the ship. And if you do disable a ship, you can board it or destroy it. If you disable a ship, you will need to board and take it over, and it's yours to keep if you wish, and upgrade and change it how you would do with any other ship. However, if you want to keep a stolen ship, you need to register it at a spaceport, and this will cost you a considerable amount of credits. You can take cargo from a disabled ship when it flies out. You just fly near the cargo that's floating, press a button, you can basically take it. You can customize the appearance of each module of the ship. There is 3 color tabs with access to hue, saturation, brightness, and displays what colors you recently used, the last 12. In terms of how smuggling works, certain items are classed as contraband, which is pretty much illegal everywhere, and you'll need to smuggle them past security ships that are in orbit of major settlements. You can hide them using special ship modules you can purchase. The economy is fixed though, but prices of bought and sold goods can change based on the skills that you choose. And with that kind of special element to get past security, you can add shielded cargo module to protect illegal contraband, which if you're in the ship customization screen, which we've seen, we can see the capacity of shielded cargo. You can also dock with something like a battleship or a cruise ship, etc. if you want to, same with any other ship once you've disabled it. And there's also going to be landing and takeoff, which is going to be a cutscene, it's not going to be gameplay. Moving on to planets and exploration, there are going to be plenty of places to explore and visit with over 1,000 planets with procedural generating. And with that, your experience or my experience will be completely different on a specific planet if we visited the same one. 10% of those planets will also have life to experience. Fast travel to these planets are via a star map. The planet distances from other planets and the sun and how the planet atmosphere behaves are as accurate from IRL because they have actually studied the data from NASA themselves. You don't have to land on every planet if you don't want to. You can survey the planet instead. It will tell you things like what kind of resources and things are on there. You can select any point of the planet to land. And when you have landed, you can scan the flora, which is plant-based life, the fauna, which is animal life, and geological structures. And then with that data, you can sell it for a considerable amount if you want to. Moving on to outposts. Outposts can be built on almost everywhere on every planet you visit. There will be a limit of how many structures you can build. There will be a little UI element that will say how much you can have. The outpost building is just as modular as shipbuilding, and when building an outpost, you'll need to be aware of cargo space, the number of crew working on the outpost, needed power, total power, and the production that the outpost will produce, which is per minute. I suppose it depends on the area that you're building on, will determine things like how modular it will be, which will determine all those factors. You can build, in terms of power, the likes of solar panels, wind turbines, reactors, and generators for power sources. Outposts have integrity meter, so they may reduce over time if not upkeep properly. Creating outposts is an isometric top-down, and then it's first person for interiors. There's housing in different cities that the player can get, so some of you have to purchase, some are rewards for specific quests. These can be purchased in all major cities in the game, and you can get one from completing something. Now, they haven't specified on what that exactly is. I'm pretty sure we're going to have to find out. You can also set up 2 of your outposts together from 2 different planets and have an automated trade route, either legal or illegal, and we will need to maximize some skills in order to do this, so you can't exactly do it from day 1 of playing the game. Whether 2 outposts is the limit, we're going to have to wait and see. I'm not 100% sure on that information. Moving on to research. So you can build research stations on your ship or at an outpost that you've made or found. Research stations will utilize all the materials and resources you've generated to help craft weapon mods and other things, which I'm about to get onto. So you can research 5 categories. So there's pharmacology, which will research into things like healing and performance-enhanced drugs elements, food and drink, which will unlock new recipes for you to eat, which will have, I believe, some ups and downsides. Outpost element, and that increases your outpost effectiveness. Your equipment, which is things like upgrades for spacesuits. And finally, weaponry, which is weapon mods for your weapons. Moving on to character creation. So they've said it's the best character creation that Bethesda has ever made. You start with a base model and then you edit your character as you see fit. You can change your character later by visiting a genetics facility. There's a radio menu to choose your body type from thin, muscular and heavy. You can change everything on your head from things like hair, eyes, neck, mouth and a lot more. Gonna be here all day if I was listing every single element. Basically, it's very, very detailed. You can select 2 different WOG styles. And then we move on to choosing a background. So you choose your own character history, which comes with 3 free skills with no downside, and these backgrounds can have benefits throughout the game for certain missions or interactions with NPCs. Traits, on the other hand, have 3 slots that are optional. You don't have to if you don't want to. All have positive and negative effects. You can get rid of them if you don't like them further on in the game, and this is where there are some quest lines linked to these traits. And I also believe this is where you can actually align yourself with one of the religions in the game, which I'll get to later on. Finally, the character customization system will make the parents look like you based on your face that you make if you have the kid stuff trait. Moving on to skill tree. It has an expansive skill tree, 5 different trees of physical, social, combat, science and tech. There's approximately over 160 different skills, so plenty to choose from. The skill tree is leveled up with challenges and XP, 4 ranks per skill, and in order to rank up these skills, you will have to complete challenges linked to these, so it's not just spending points, you have to actually do things linked to them. And with that, because there's so many skills, you could choose to specialize in things like stealth, melee, combat, etc. Whatever your playstyle, you can basically spec into. And before I get into religions and belief, there is one side thing that I forgot to mention earlier, and that's choices affect your experience and interactions, as they should do with an RPG, and romance is available. Now on to religions and belief. There are different beliefs and religions in the game, and they work just like IRL, and therefore some people may interact differently depending on that. There are 3 faiths that you can join any of them during character creation via traits, but you can only join 1 at a time. The first one is Enlightened Faith, the second one is Sanctum Universal, and the third one is the Great Serpent. Moving on to factions. So with all the factions in the game, you can join them, you can take them down. It's one of those more choice elements of the game. Every faction quest line that you choose to do will play out in a unique way based on the choices you made leading up to and during that quest line. So there are minor and major or main factions. So there's Constellation, which is the one that you're going to join at the start of the game. Then you can kind of align yourself with the likes of the United Colonies, the Freestar Collective, and the Crimson Fleet. There's also some minor factions, so the Reusian Industries, the Xenofresh Corporation, and the House of Varun. You can get a bounty from another faction if you cause them too much trouble, and that will be reflected in the UI. All the playable factions can be completed independently. The Crimson Fleet storyline does feature you being undercover agent inside the fleet on behalf of the UC SysDef, which is a specific military branch of the United Colonies, but whether you betray the fleet or the United Colonies is a choice you will have to make at the time. Moving on to companions and crew members. You can recruit over 20 crew members for your ship from exploration, finding new characters and look after the ship or assign them to an outpost. Based on their traits, they'll affect how that outpost or element is effective. And there are 2 types of companions. Well, there's more companions than there's crew members. So there's the ones that don't affect the storylines, and then the ones that will affect the storylines. And there are 4 main ones that will affect the storylines, and they are a bit more complex than the regular companions in terms of dialogue responses. In terms of the ones that don't affect storylines, you can hire, fire, kill, or even ignore them if you absolutely want to. One of those companions is actually a robot droid, which is inspired by the Mars rover, which is pretty cool. Overall, there's going to be over 250,000 lines of dialogue, which I believe is 4 times more than Skyrim ever did. Companions can follow you around and even carry your stuff. And in terms of paying your crew members working at Outposts, it's a one-time payment that you use through the speech challenge game to negotiate over, and some traits also affect the cost. In terms of the crew, they all start with a set of perks at specific ranks. They don't level up, but they do come at different ranks depending on the companion. So just be wary of what you're kind of speccing into when it comes to crew members, and make sure they're really a good specialist, because that won't change and that is just set in stone. Moving on to weapons. Weapons are all customizable. Gravity affects combat, so firing a ballistic weapon will push you back in zero gravity. In terms of pacifist modes, this is what the devs have said about it. They said they can't guarantee every mission can be completed in pacifist mode, but they do have a couple of systems that will help. One system is a speech challenge game where you get to persuade someone to do something like not fight you, and this challenge game is added in a specific scripted moments, and they've tried to add most quests where important characters confront you. They've also talked about this very early on in pre-production, whether or not it could support a non-lethal playthrough, and what they said was, for various reasons, it wasn't totally feasible. That being said, there are some non-lethal options, whether through dialogue or using non-lethal weapons. There are more weapons, weapon attachments and gun mods than any other Bethesda title. So there's going to be assault rifles, laser pistols, ballistic pistols, energy particle beams, sniper rifles, shotguns, SMGs, knives and axes. So they're going to be a physical type weapons, so they're ballistic based, so things like assault rifles, pistols, SMGs. There's energy type weapons, so like laser and particle beam firearms. There's a weapon wheel to switch weapons that has up to 12 slots. When you have that open, it operates in slow motion. It doesn't pause the game when you go into that. There is live looting from fallen enemies, so be careful when you're looting. The boost pack, or the jump pack, or jet pack, however you want to say it, is available in both in and out of combat to move around. In terms of going into the stats you get when you're overseeing weapons, you get to see the type of weapon, the ammo type, the mag size, how many rounds, the fire rate, the range, accuracy, mass, value, and how many mods you can attach to that particular weapon. The melee weapons get the type of weapon, the mass, and the value. In terms of weapon mods, so far we've seen receiver, internal, optic, magazine, and battery, and muzzle. There may be more that haven't been shown or confirmed, but that's what we know so far. Finally, equipment, or more specifically, spacesuits. There are going to be different spacesuits which have different stats and will have resistance for enemies and environments. So there's physical, which is resistant to ballistic damage. There's energy, which is resistant to energy weapons. There's a mission, which is resistant to electromagnetic weapons. Thermal resistance. Airborne resistance, which is against creatures with the disease buff or poisonous planetary atmospheres. There's corrosive. And then there's radiation. And that is everything we know about Starfield so far. A lot of information. There's a likelihood I've missed a couple of points here and there. By all means, whack them in the comments below. I'd quite like to see if I have missed anything. And that is going to do it for today. I do hope you're looking forward to Starfield as much as I am. If you like this video and want to see more like this one, make sure you are subscribed. I'll be doing more Starfield content when it comes available. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.